I want to introduce you to my mother, Clarice Hay, formerly Minner of Hot Springs, Arkansas. I wanted to basically give you an opportunity to get to know her a little bit and for her to tell you about my sister, Lynn Smith. Mom, could you talk about Lynn?
Sure, that's a bittersweet conversation there. She was a quiet child, very soft-spoken. She's been missing over 20 years now. I have no closure on this horrific event in my life and her demise, whatever that might be. And I know it's that because my daughter would never, ever, 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 ever be missing or leave and not communicate with me in some kind of form ever for 20 years. We didn't have that type of relationship. It was my daughter could be very talkative too, on the other hand. A lot of people didn't know that about her.
How did she carry herself?
Very well mannered. She was a lady, a young lady. She wasn't loud. She wasn't boisterous. She wasn't tacky. She was everything that any young woman wanted to be.
But she always loved her to take care of her hair.
Yeah, she loved her hair. She loved dress. She loved fashion. She loved shopping.
Why'd you name her Jeffrey? Because she never did like that name. She did not like it at all.
Well,
what's the story behind that?
I was working for a lady named Virginia Dwire. She later became Virginia Kelly, who was Virginia Clinton, who in essence was Bill and Roger Clinton's mom, who was the former president of the United States. Jeffrey came from her husband. They didn't have kids together because they were middle-aged when they married and da-da-da-da. And so they wanted me to name my daughter after, well, my child, rather, after Mr. Dwire, which his name was, we called him Jeff, and if my child was a boy, we wanted him Jeffrey, and Jeffrey, a boy or a girl, so I named her Jeffrey.
Well, you initially were going to name her Cheryl Lynn, weren't you?
Yeah, and I did, but I changed it because it really hurt their feelings, or hurt hers, that I didn't name her Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's hard for me. What was it, my sister is a very special person and we want to get this information out to the public. As we know, it's shown that unless you have some kind of ties or connections to someone of importance to bring you out of obscurity, it's not going to happen. So while people might be interested in my sister when it all comes out in the wash, really probably what they want to hear is what it was like to work, around the Clintons. You knew Bill back before he was president. Where was he? I think he was in school at the time, right?
Yeah, he was at Oxford. Yeah.
And you had said that he had came home one time and he had joked with you. I guess you were in the kitchen or something. Could you talk about that experience? Because that always was a pretty lighthearted moment at night.
Yeah. I was pregnant with Lynn, and he came in and he seen that I was pregnant. I had never seen him before, but I knew that he was there. So Mrs. Dwire had told me on her way out from to work that her son was there from college, and that if he came in, wanted something, to fix him a lunch or something. I said sure, that was no problem. And so I had a roast in the oven, and I was going to slice that off for sandwiches and stuff. And he came in from a jog, and he says, "Hey, aren't you going to make yourself one of those peanut butter and banana sandwiches like all pregnant women do?" And I says, "Yuck." No.
Was that the only encounter you had with him?
One and only. Didn't know he was going to be the future president of the United States.
It wasn't just you that worked for them. I mean, I know you were the first one, but my grandma, your mom, and your sister also worked for them briefly too.
Well, yeah, my sister did. She worked for him during my maternity leave. Mrs. Dwire, she was my anesthesiologist. She gave me the anesthetic so I could go to sleep when I gave birth to Lynn at Washita Memorial Hospital.
What was she like? What was Miss Dwire at the time? What was she like as a person?
She was a very strong-willed woman. She knew what she wanted. She got what she wanted, and there was no, how shall I say, she was professional always. She could joke now with you. She was a human. She was kind. She was kind-hearted and everything, but she wanted you to get your job done and make sure that Roger was taken care of, which I did. I mean, there was nothing.
How old was he at the time?
About 13.
And you were about 19, right, when you was working there?
Yeah, about 19.
What was he like?
Yeah, he was quiet.
He was
a quiet kid, kept out of trouble and stuff, but he didn't like the idea that I was also called his babysitter because he was 13 years old. I wouldn't have liked that idea either.
Well, did you ever try to get any help from Ms.
Yeah,
Brown?
I did at the time, but I think she had remarried to the Kelly guy who was, I think he was a horse trainer and a owner. So he was pretty busy, and I think she was pretty busy just with the marriage itself and probably having some problems with her. Probably didn't realize at the time, but she probably wasn't feeling well because she soon, not too long after that, I'm sure she was diagnosed with cancer.
Well, I just want to talk about it a little bit. Of course, this is all about Lynn, but I just thought I wanted to say that, she had a special coming into this world, and she has a name that, by all means, really wasn't supposed to be her name, and yet that is her name. And, because that I had tried to get in touch with Bill Clinton over the years, and, they don't owe us a thing, but being the humanitarian that he is, I just thought that, he would help us, because we needed help. It didn't matter who it came from.
Yeah.
So, basically, I wanted to get this video out to the public because there has been some new developments in the case. Yeah. And they're going to be running some articles in Hot Springs, but I want to try to get some national attention for her because I think that there's somebody out there that knows what happened, and can put some, missing links together. Do you have anything to say to anybody out there that might have information for us?
Well, all I have to say, it's been 20 years now. A lot of people that knew about this then is well mature. They're about my age or older now. So they should have children or grandchildren, that is, if they're blessed. And they should know. They should just put themselves in my shoes just for a minute. Just imagine their child. They would not see their child forever. For just a minute. Just fathom the idea that you would never see your child for a minute. And just take a moment to entertain the idea that they were tortured before they died. Then you'll know how I feel every single